Alrighty, so as we're all aware, Season 5 is, well, 5 days away. Pun, well, I mean, that's not exactly a pun, it's actually 5 days away for Season 5. But anyway, things are going to get very, very interesting for Global to see what changes come about after this season itself. Because, of course, if you guys can remember with JP and KR, after Season 6, which is Global Season 5, things have shifted with the game. So yeah, this is one thing which I was waiting for, to get these characters out of the way to then see what changes come about for Global. But as of right now, let's focus on what's happening, and that is in 5 days time, Charlotte, Magna, they are going to be releasing, and well, we got two great characters to look at, being Charlotte and Magna. Now, I've done a few videos already, kind of giving you guys a brief little talk. Obviously we'll go into breaking these character down, doing individual showcases, so that way when they does come to the global release, you guys have a good idea on how these characters are working, and then from that point on, you guys can decide on whether or not which character will benefit your account. Although I feel like, as I said, I've stated many times, and many others have probably already preached, that there's a specific character to go for. But we're talking about maxing them out, not maxing them out, but gaining dupes, because if anything, this is one seasonal which I will say you might want to invest that little bit more into, purely because of how good, at the very least, their LR+2 is. So we'll start things off with, actually we'll put, because I'll also look into their skill pages too. We'll start things off with Charlotte. Now, I said it before, I'm going to say it again, Charlotte, in my opinion, is one of the best supporters that the game has to offer. She's extremely good. She is one of the top units for the green mono team, and just in general with the support that she just applies for the team in general with whatever typing, but she really heavily supports in a disgusting way your not all, but your highest attacking unit specifically. So just to give you guys a bit of a breakdown once again, her first skill, you know, it does a little bit of damage towards the enemy, but the key thing is that you're giving your highest attacking ally the SP +1. The SP economy from Charlotte is pretty disgusting. She's one of those main characters outside of, you know, you got Mimosa, you got the new Vanessa, you got the old Mimosa, you've got Charmy, you know, you've got characters that can apply SP, but Charlotte is up there of being one of the best with the economy that she can provide. And then on the second skill, you get a +2 on a designated ally, so you can pick and choose. Not only that, you get debuff immunity, and then if you're lucky, you get a bit of a chance to, well, if you work on the skill, as you guys can see, in total 60%, so you can then 100% reduce your own skill 2 cooldown by 1 turn. Yeah, that is pretty disgusting. That second skill in the game, one of the best. And then the ultimate itself, again, this is for all your allies, so you get 30% damage reduction taken for 2 turns. You get a defense pen level 3. This is for the ally with the highest all attack. And then if an ally has a barrier, which she can provide, she can extend it by 1 turn. So, and then when it comes to the combination skill, depending on who her partnered mage is, she will give 100% of own max HP as a barrier. So she can apply barrier, but it's between the partnered units. And then of course, when it comes to the unique passive, this is where things get interesting, and this is why mono green is so powerful, especially with her being a formidable character for the green mono. If all allies belong to the green typing at the beginning of the battle, grants all allies 80% of own max HP as barrier for 1 turn. Get that ultimate going, you've got all of that defense play going on alongside extending the duration of that barrier. So Charlotte at the very beginning has an extremely powerful defensive lineup, I would say. And then this is where things get interesting now, duping her out. Passive on LR+2, every turn grants the ally with the highest all attack a barrier equal to 50% of own max HP for 2 turns. Now if you choose to go out your way and max her out, then she just pretty much gives herself taunt immunity. Now I'm gonna be honest, do you need to max her out? No. LR+2, that is the huge play. So as of right now, for a green mono, let's say you get 1 copy of Charlotte, I would say green mono, she's going to be absolutely fantastic. But in my opinion, for what I've experienced, that LR+2 opens her up to be used anywhere with whoever, purely because she is supporting the highest all attack character on your team. So I'm sure you guys have seen it on PvP. So by having a LR+2 like the way I do, I mean, you got people that make it so that she protects Asta, so that way Asta can nuke. Merillion, well, Merillion is green typing. Julius, I mean, that's one of the most common combination which I'm sure many of you guys have seen, right? So she, again, this is from her being LR+2, what, you know, with the support blade that she can provide, of course. So again, with the highest all attacking units, whether you want to run Fana with other multiple characters, so you're not making use of the green or the barrier passive that he has, she can do so, as because she's always going to be supporting that high attacking unit, and it's going to be consistent barriers too. Her passive will always pop off. And again, I'm sure you guys have seen it in multiple videos of myself and many others, of course. And so, yeah, Charlotte is just a huge advantage play in terms of damage reduction, SP economy, and that consistent barrier play. And so having a unit that can remove barrier is going to be crucial, to be honest, to counteract that. Unless you got units that can buff block, etc., then, you know, you've also, and also barrier block, you know, that's also another way to go about it. And then I believe we're going, yeah, we'll talk about her Greymore, why not? So, upon taking damage from an attacker enemy, there is a 25, if you max it out, 100% chance to grant a 15%, if you max it out, 35% damage reduction buff for 1 turn. Now, I've only got the initial copy, so mine's at 25%, 50% reduced damage. Yeah, I mean, look, if you choose to dupe it out, fair enough. I wouldn't really say it's anything, I mean, well, you could technically build it in a tanky manner, so that way you don't need to go all too crazy for the Greymore, although it's very helpful in terms of obviously her survivability. So yeah, it has its ups and downs, but I would say the big sell point to her Greymore, and why I would say to get at least the initial copy, it's purely because of how her second skill just becomes disgustingly OP. So not only is she got the debuff immunity, but now she's got the status element immunity. So her second skill is basically giving a designated ally full-on protection. Absolute full-on protection. Not only that, this needs to be updated, but her SP economy goes up. So if I show you guys, because I think I've got her, yeah, I should have a Greymore. I don't know why I wouldn't remove it. Anyway, so with her Greymore, so let's take it off, right? So this is kind of where it's at right now, and then if I apply it, rather than giving away 2 SP to the designated ally, she now gives 3. So not only am I buffing a specific ally completely, but I'm now giving them 3 SP. So I would say her Greymore, you really want it to get the full package of how the second skill is just completely buffed up in being one of the best second skill supports in the goddamn game. And then if you get dupes out, you know, for the Greymore, it's not a bad thing. It helps out with her survivability, but again, I wouldn't say it's really that necessary. But it's beneficial. Now, when it comes to the Magna himself, again, he is falling in line with the burn meta units. Obviously, when Merillion drops, then that's going to be absolutely beautiful. So, of course, first turn does burns, of course, continuous damage, pretty simplistic. Second skill does burn, again, continuous damage. Ultimate, you know, removing barrier, beautiful. If the enemy has burns, then it grants himself 40% increased damage buff with the consistency that Magna can apply to himself with applying to the burn, to the enemy, sorry. So he's got a self-sufficient kit in terms of being to make good use of the DOT that he can apply, falling in line with his ultimate, which is beautiful. And then he has what Julius has. If he kills the enemy, he gets an extra turn. Can't go wrong with that. So very simple. Combination skill can also remove barrier. Kind of simple. I wish that would have also applied burn, but it is what it is. Unique passive. If there's at the start of the battle, inflicts continuous burn to all enemies for 2 turns. So Magna, in terms of the burn meta, he does support it tremendously because of that unique passive. Now, duping him out. LR+2. Upon attacking an enemy taking continuous burn damage, pretty consistent if you ask me, he can inflict stun. So if the enemy has any burn DOT, keep in mind his passive already inflicts burn the minute you start the game. On his first skill, you can stun. On your second skill, you can stun. On your third skill, you can stun. Obviously, the third skill doesn't apply burn, so, you know. But outside of that, as long as burn is being active on the enemy team, the consistency of the stun from Magna will be pretty disgusting. Some for 1 turn, but still very helpful and very clutch to have. And then again, if you want to go ahead and max him out, then he gives himself stun immunity permanently. So that's not bad. You know, the LR plus 5, you know, it's not too bad. But at the very least, yeah, that LR plus 2 to get those stuns going in, with the enemy being burned, I will say there have been moments where it has actually come in clutch. Unless they've got immunity and whatnot, then, you know, it's not exactly that needed. At that point, you're just relying on damage output from Magna himself. And then, yeah, so when it comes to the Greymore, where is it? Upon attacking an enemy, taking continuous burn damage, there's a 40% if maxed out 100% chance to grant yourself a speed increase, so 16% at the very beginning, and if you max it out, 40%. Not too bad, because if you really think about it, if you've got, you know, if you use the ultimate, you get the Yoko, you get an extra turn in, and you know, you've got that continuous damage going on still on if there's multiple enemies, or if it's still the same enemy who's still taking burn. In terms of, like, for example, the world boss, you know, if you take a full health bar down, that counts as a kill, so like you get an extra turn, and then because they've burned, you can give yourself an increased speed, which is technically speaking Magna will be in straight after, basically. That's if you really choose to go max out the Grimoire itself. So it is beneficial, and to be fair, even at the very beginning, 40% to get 16% speed, that's not bad. That's when I've got it, and it actually does come in clutch, weirdly enough. I guess RNG's in my favour. Yeah, the second skill, I mean, the buff that he does apply is that you get HP recovery block. I mean, you can't really exactly go wrong with that. I mean, at times I guess that could help you out. So bit of an oddball. Wasn't expecting that initially when I first heard about his kit, and to give him HP recovery block. But it is what it is. So with all that being said, how would we go about looking into choosing to dupe out characters? First things first, with Greymoors, do you realistically need to dupe them? I mean, no, not really. I would say if you choose to dupe out Charlotte's Greymoore, I mean, you really can't go wrong with that, to be honest. But I really wouldn't say you need to kind of dupe out Greymoors. You really don't need to do... yeah. I mean, look, if you get copies, you get copies, but I wouldn't be head over heels trying your best to dupe out the Greymoors themselves. At the very least, just get the initial copy for Charlotte. I think that would be the very best. And then, of course, when it comes to duping out Magna or duping out Charlotte, to be completely honest with you guys, the bigger unit here that you want to try and dupe out is going to be Charlotte. Both of their LR plus 2 is really good. This is what I meant about this seasonal for global. You want to be kind of prepared for, because this is one of the seasonals that you might want to consider going in and actually getting three copies of. And between the two, if I had to decide on who I would go for, I'm just going to say what I did, and what I did was I decided to dupe out Charlotte first, and that's exactly what I did. But with the banner dropping and I can only focus on one, I'm telling you guys, Charlotte with this passive right here is a much bigger play than Magna's stun. I'm being completely honest when I say that. She is over Magna, just to put it to you guys straight. She is over Magna in terms of her usability for the game itself and how she will elevate your account as a unit. So if you guys can, you want to get at the very least Charlotte's LR plus 2. Your main goal, your main focus will be to get Charlotte's LR plus 2 passive. After that, if you want to go for Magna, do as you please. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what RNG is going to be like. I don't know how lucky you guys are going to get summoning. So hey, some of you might get lucky, you never know. But everyone's goal when it comes to duping out, who should you dupe out? Get Charlotte LR plus 2. That is going to be your focus to duping out. She should be everyone's focus to get that LR plus 2.